Yo, what's up guys? It's Asher, and seeing as the NBA Finals have just ended, it's the off season. And in the off season, I was thinking of ideas for content, and I decided I would do a 2K MyLeague series in the vein of a Funky Diabetics old stuff from like 2K16 and Jacobs or Rusty Buckets' 76er series from earlier this season. And I will be doing one on the Chicago Bulls. If you want to keep getting episodes of this, leave a like and subscribe, because I don't want to have to say this, but it seems to work every time I say it. Anyways, the thing about the Chicago Bulls is I am recording this just a few days after the draft lottery, and I'm going to be doing it as in it was done in real life, like the Bulls didn't get their pick. And they traded their pick for Nikola Vucevic, who is a very good all-star center. He has a great three-level offensive game. He's not a good defender, but he's not god-awful on that end either. He is a very solid post scorer. He's a very solid mid-range shooter and a very good three-point shooter for a big man. And I look forward to using him with Zach Levine, who this is the all-star duo of the Windy City. These two will be the foundation of the offense going forward, and they will be who I look to for buckets in game. But neither are particularly good defenders, so I will look this offseason to address those needs at a point guard and probably another wing and another big who are more defensively oriented but also can score the basket on the other end. Now, Levine is a fantastic scorer, just a phenomenal three-level scorer. He's a decent playmaker. He can pass the ball. He's probably not someone who I would want as my primary playmaker, but he is a great secondary one. And he is a great three-point shooter, he's a great mid-range shooter, and he's a great finisher. So I look forward to using him as my number one option, most likely. And the foundation of the offense will be a Vucevic-Levine pick and roll. Now, there are some questions surrounding this team heading into this offseason in real life, such as Lauri Markkanen. What are you going to do with his free agency, seeing as he is a restricted free agent? Coby White, what is his fit on this team long term? Are they going to trade him? Are they going to see what his role can be going forward? What's the situation there? There's a few free agents who can walk or resign. There's a few questions. And to answer some of them, Lauri Markkanen, I am going to let walk. He is not someone I see on this team long term, and I don't think I could get enough to justify trading him because he's not very valuable in a trade, at least in my opinion. So I'm just going to let him walk to whatever team wants to sign him to a long-term deal, because I don't think he's worth the $20 million a year he wants. Now, Coby White, I'm not sure. I will explore trades for him, but I think I am most likely going to keep him at least to start the season as a sixth man, pump up his trade value, and then if he's doing good, I will keep him as my sixth man. But if he is someone I don't see long term on this team, I will look to trade him at the trade deadline. And then there are two veteran players that I want to address before we get into the draft, which will be the second part of this episode. The first one is Thaddeus Young. He is a fantastic player in real life. He is a great sixth man for the team. He finished, I believe, third in sixth man of the year voting. He is a great veteran in the locker room, and he would be great on any contender. Now, I don't think we're going to be a contender the first year. My plan is more build for the future a little bit, and he's already 33, and he is going to regress. He is going to get worse, and I think I should capitalize on him having what was almost a career year. So, because of that, I am going to be trading him to the Los Angeles Clippers for pick 25 and a future second. I think this is a good trade for both sides because we get a pick that we can play with, which we don't have one currently. So we get a first round pick and we get a future pick that we can use in a trade or to draft a young player in the future. And then the second player we're going to look at is Tomas Zadaransky, who is a solid enough backup point guard, but he's not really someone I want on this team long term because I want the main ball handler of the second unit going into the next season to be Coby White or, someone not named Tomas Zadaransky. The reason for this is because he is expiring after next season. There's a team option on him this season, which I decided to pick up so that I could trade him. But he is a very solid playmaker, solid scorer, solid defender, an all-around solid point guard, but just not someone I want on this team long term. And a team who needs someone like him, a secondary ball handler, is the Mavericks, because Luka does a lot of that carrying on offense. He carries a lot of that load, and he could use someone to alleviate some of that pressure, and I think Tomas Zadaransky can do that for them. I think that he will fit solid next to them, so I'm trading him for a second this season and a second next season. Now, on to the draft. So, there were a few prospects I was looking at before, and the one who stood out to me was Ayo Dosunmu, who is a very solid all-around point guard. He is 21, I believe, coming out of Illinois. He's a good playmaker, he's a good scorer, and he is a phenomenal defender, has a lot of upside on that end. And I think that is someone who could start long-term next to Zach Levine if he develops, because he's a good shooter, so he can play off-ball when Zach is running that pick and roll with Vucevic, pick and pop maybe. He can handle the ball, so we can have Levine play off-ball a little bit. He can make up for Levine's lack of, just being good on the defensive end, because he's a very solid point guard defender who can defend 1 through 3 pretty well, and I would be fine with him against like Keldon Johnson or smaller fours. So I think that looking at all the people, I think at pick 25, seeing as he fell, Ayo Dosunmu makes the most sense, and he will probably be the backup point guard going into this first season, or maybe the starter. Who knows? It kind of depends on free agency. And then we had 2 second-round picks. So the first one is someone who I know Noah Terranova is very high on. I like the tape I've seen of him myself. I have not done a full scouting report on him, but I will eventually. It is Jaden Springer. He's a very raw prospect, but he has a lot of skills already. He has a lot of upside, and he is a solid shooter. Didn't take a ton of shots, but he has potential to be a very good knockdown shooter. He is a great athlete, very solid finisher around the rim. He has a lot of defensive upside. Kind of reminds me of Shaq Harrison right now, but like better. I'm going to go with him just because he can be a defensive specialist for us. He can knock down an open jumper, and he can find his way off ball, and he's a great finisher. He's a good dunker, so we can rely on him in transition. He runs the floor fantastically. So with the 41st pick, I'm going to be taking Jaden Springer. And then the last pick of this draft, I'm going to be honest, I'm just taking this guy for his potential. He is a 7-foot center who is Thon Maker's cousin. I'm going to be taking Maker. And also, I like his name. I find it funny. He is someone who has upside, but probably isn't going to be an impact player. I might look at sending him to the G League. I'm not sure, really, right now. He might turn into our victory cigar. To sum it up, we got Ayo Dosunmu, Jaden Springer, and Maker in this draft. I think that's a very solid haul, considering the circumstances. And in the next episode, which will be coming out shortly after this one, I will be looking at free agent targets and probably doing free agency. And then after that, we'll get into the season and see what this rotation looks like and play the first game. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, all that YouTubery stuff that I hate saying.